Getting your first few clients as a freelancer is actually much easier than you think, but it's not easy. Let's talk about it. But before we do, if you're new here, my name is Danae. I have a free newsletter called the Digital Marketing Diaries where I share little tidbits about my life as a freelancer and also marketing tips and tricks for brand owners, agency owners, creators, etc. It's completely free. I send out one newsletter every Friday and you can always find it in the description. If you do not continue this video and the only thing you watch is this part, it'll be okay because it's the most important part, but you should continue watching to the end because I have a lot of juicy information to share about this topic. The most important thing when it comes to getting clients is consistent outreach. Your output matters most. Anything else you hear is BS. There's no secret hack. There's nothing else that can help you get out of that. That is what it is. You must do consistent outreach. You must have some sort of consistent output. I'm going to share my personal story, how I gained my first few clients and how I stay, how I go about finding new clients, and also share other things that I hear and see my friends in the industry or other people doing. But your output is what matters most, and there's no way to kind of work around that. Okay, now this might shock some people, but personally, I always recommend Upwork for beginners. I still use Upwork to this day if I want to get a new project or I'm looking for some sort of new venture. And Upwork is where I found my first few clients. Crazy, right? Everyone doesn't really, I don't think there's a lot of people that talk about it, especially if you're in the niche online money Twitter world. There's a lot of information about sending outreach emails and cold DMs and that sort of thing, which definitely works. But for me, before I found that world, I just typed freelance copywriting jobs and Upwork came up and I was like, okay, cool. I did try Fiverr for a bit. I didn't like it because it didn't give you the access to reach out. And because I was a copywriter, I knew that my advantage was that I could capture people's attention through my cover letter or my intro to them. So I went crazy on Upwork. I think there's probably like 4 different tiers of connects, which is little tokens that allow you to apply to gigs. You get a certain amount for free when you first start, but I was going crazy. So I paid for like the 3rd biggest tier. I might have paid the biggest tier actually. I think it's like $50 for 200 tokens. And to apply to different gigs, it's probably between 5 to 20 tokens depending on how popular it is. So it really is valuable. But anyways, I would apply to like 30 jobs a day. I would tweak my cover letter. I watch YouTube videos about tweaking the cover letter. And at one point I was a top rated freelancer on Upwork. I don't think I am anymore because I'm not on it consistently, but I was. That is how much I was using it. So let me go into detail about my first few clients. When you set up your Upwork account, don't worry too much about your resume and all the little fancy stuff on there. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the person on the other side, what they're really going to look at is your initial outreach message to them. So that they call on there the cover letter, your proposal, and then if they add questions to the option to apply, they'll look at those. That's what's most important. Likely they're not going to check your page. That's just the truth. And I can say that also as someone who has hired other copywriters or video editors on Upwork as well. They want to see that you can do what they're looking for. And if you can show that in your initial proposal, that's all that matters. So don't get too caught up on that stuff. But when I searched up ecom copywriter, there were a ton of gigs. And then I started to realize, okay, these agencies are always looking for people. There are a lot of agencies that are either, for example, the first agency I got into was a conversion rate optimization agency. So their whole thing was that they would go into an e-commerce business and they would optimize every single area for conversions. A lot of things that maybe a brand owner who's not as knowledgeable doesn't think about, and that could increase significantly the amount of revenue they're bringing in. Part of CRO is copywriting. So I applied for this gig and I could just tell there's a lot of people who are like, oh, what if they're sketch? What if they don't pay you? There's all these things. You just have to use your intuition and what would be the word? It's not social cues on Upwork, but whatever relevant term there is for that when you're looking online, use that. Use your discernment and think, okay, this person says needs to be up every single day at 5 a.m. so we can work together. Do you want to do that? No. I mean, you have to kind of sacrifice in the beginning as a freelancer, but that's not something you'd want to do. Don't apply. Payment not verified, has 10 bad reviews. Don't apply. I found gigs that looked reasonably good. Maybe you could have been a little bit cautious about them, but they looked decent, right? I remember vividly applying to that one CRO agency. I was really confident. And then he called me back, or he sent me an email and he was like, let's get on a call. We had a call. I was honest. I said I was a beginner, but I had some experience. We did a fake project. He liked what he saw and I started working. He would pay me 300 Canadian bucks, which is probably like 250, 230 American, 100 pounds for probably work that was taking me so long. Like literally probably 7 hours a day. Like it was insane. But that was really the building blocks for me, because through that I learned how these e-com brands work, how these agencies work. And he had a bunch of different clients. So I was doing swimwear brands, sports brands, all these things. I was in the prepping niche. I didn't even know the prepping niche existed. And if you don't know what that is, go search it up. But I was doing so many different things, and it opened my eyes to the world. It made me a better copywriter, because I was also learning a lot of these agency guys might give you a course so to make you better, because at the end of the day, they want you to do good, so they do good, so they make more money. It's just all a play for play, or a hug for a hug, whatever phrase you want to use. And it just is a good experience to help you build your portfolio. So I worked with that guy probably for 2, 3, 4 months maybe, but on the side, I was continuing to get other clients. So it's important when you also join these opportunities that you ask questions like, you know, you make sure you're not exclusive to them. You're just a freelancer, because that's the whole point of being a freelancer. A lot of people will be like, oh, full-time. I'm not working for you full-time. I'm a freelancer. So make sure that in your contracts and anything you sign, it's like you have the autonomy to do so. And as long as you can keep up the workload and everyone's happy, you're good. So while I was doing that, I was building my portfolio and then using those portfolio pieces to apply to other gigs. Through that, I found some clients that I literally still work with today, which blows my mind. In the beginning, they were just small one-off projects. They liked what they saw. They continued to working with me. I continued to be reliable, and I'll get into that in a bit. But Upwork is really what pushed me over the edge. Prior to Upwork, I had done some free work for a nonprofit in my city, but it wasn't something I really even felt comfortable showing. I don't think it was that good. Yeah, so I just wanted to be transparent about that. But otherwise, I built my portfolio through Upwork by doing really cheap work. Not cheap enough where it was basically slavery, but cheap enough where I was learning, I was gaining insight. It was a really valuable time for me. And also during this time, it wasn't my only thing. I was doing a little part-time job that was completely remote. It took me around 3 hours a day, so I could continue to build my income in copywriting. So on Upwork, and even to this day, if I were to go back on Upwork and try and get a client, I would send around 10 to 20 proposals for jobs that I specifically have portfolio pieces for. If I was a complete beginner, I would make up fake websites / brands and make up fake copy for them and apply with those. If you cannot succeed by sending people cover letters on Upwork, especially if you're a copywriter, I don't know if it's for you. That seems kind of harsh, but it's the truth. At the end of the day, you are a copywriter. Your job is to capture people's attention, drive conversions. If you do not have the ability to do that through a cover letter, selling yourself, you got to work on your copywriting skills. And I think I've said this to a lot of beginners, because they will go on to Upwork and they'll write "to whom it may concern" and this boring cover corporate type thing. Why would they pick you to write their witty e-com brand emails? You make the rules, and you can open yourself up to a lot more opportunities if you get creative and don't do things the way you think you should. Don't comment, "Oh, can you show me your portfolio and your cover letter? I didn't see anyone else's." I used what I know, what I think is my unique selling point, and sold it through the copy, because I'm a copywriter and you have to see yourself as a copywriter. I need to take that, hone it, and then continuously make it your own. Create your own cover letter format. See what works, see what doesn't work. Now I have like my set of things that I know drive people across. Whenever I did get on at least a call, maybe I didn't convert them into a client, but let's say I just got on a call with them, I'd always ask them, "Oh, what made you choose me?" "Oh, this." "Oh, I clicked your TikTok." "Oh, this." And I would note that, so then in the future, I would emphasize those things. Speaking of TikTok, outwork on Upreach is really valuable. Why? Because when you're doing cold outreach, you don't know necessarily if the client needs or really cares to work with a copywriter. Of course, your job would be to sell them on it and how you can increase their income, but there's an extra layer there. Whereas on Upwork, these people need someone. They already need someone, so half the battle is already fought. You just need to prove that you're the one they need. So that's why I recommend Upwork for beginners. It kind of takes that off. And then once your portfolio is built and you get into pitching to bigger brands who might not be on looking specifically for someone at the moment, you're more confident in doing so. That leads me to building your personal brand. Output is the most important thing, as I mentioned in the beginning. Your output doesn't always have to be sending outreach, whether it's cold outreach or warm outreach, whatever. It could also be in the form of content. So it could be short form video or written content. It could be LinkedIn, Twitter posts, or it could be short form videos on TikTok, which for me plays a huge role in my clientele. So I post short form video content with messaging in it and a style of filming that I know will get potential brand owners who are looking for copywriters to see. So I know that they might search up creative copywriter for website. And because I've put the correct SEO, I will come up and I've posted enough videos that will binge watch and be like, oh, this is good. I want to work with her. And then it just happens in my website, I do that stuff and then we can work together. That's literally how any clients that have found me through social media have found me. And those videos still work for me today. I haven't posted consistently in about a year and a half, but the videos that I pumped out in the first year still work for me today because I knew exactly what to say in them to get people to convert. I have a video all about building a personal brand, also how to build a content strategy on this channel, so you can go binge those. But this is a cheat code because not only are you putting yourself out there in front of more people and people are finding you through that, but they're also learning a little bit about you and your personality. They already feel like they know you if they see your content, or they're constantly reading your tweets, they're constantly reading your LinkedIn posts, constantly watching your videos, and that makes it easier for you to sell. So if they fill out your form and they're like 80% sure they're going to work with you, if you come on the call, you go above and beyond and your personality is even better than it is on whatever platform they follow you on, you won and you get the new client. So alongside outreach on Upwork, I would say building a personal brand, it doesn't have to be short form video, but I would say I would recommend it. But if it isn't, any platform where you can build a clientele, and don't have a mindset that, oh, like there's no CEOs on these platforms. There is. People are looking for service-based business owners on social media. If you want to have that mindset, maybe this stuff is not for you, but it's just not going to do you any disservice to think, oh, like this is the way. Like, people have been doing this for years and years and years. High-level entrepreneurs are on TikTok, they're on LinkedIn, they're on Twitter, they're everywhere. They're seeing what's happening in the world and they might just see you. So obviously, if you choose to do the content, you want to make sure that you have a decent looking website. You don't need to spend a lot of money. My first website looked so embarrassing. I built it on Wix. I think I paid 100 Canadian dollars a year for it. Maybe less. It was just the most basic website that was probably not as functional as it should have been, but it was a place where people could share their interest in working with me. If you don't even have enough money to build a website, you can just put a type form in the bio and have them fill out the form. It'll automatically go to you and then you guys can go through email. But building a personal brand, I would say, will help you achieve getting clients faster because you're just going to be in front of more eyes. And especially if you're really knowledgeable and the information you share is good, you're going to be set apart. And you can use your short form content or your personal brand as an addition to any of the other outreach. The last form of outreach that I would recommend that I have done and gotten clients from, but I know my friends have done like consistently and have gotten insane clients from, is cold outreach. When it comes to cold outreach, you have to just not stop reaching out to them. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 emails, month after month after month after month. They might just answer on the 9th email and finally want to work with you and pay you more money than you could even imagine just because you continued reaching out to them. Or at the time, oh, I need a copywriter. This guy's been sending me emails for 5 months. Let me get back to him now. I've had friends that have had those exact experiences. So it's a lengthier process, but is a true and tried process and can work. I won't act like I've consistently done that. It's just not something I've had to do because I use these other methods. But in your cold outreach or the warm outreach on Upwork, you can also include your personal brand, which makes you look super professional. So whenever on Upwork, I would always link my social media platforms, and I believe it made me stand out from other people because they could kind of get a sense of how I talk, what I'm about, my values, just I'm not some weird person that doesn't speak proper English, or I'm not lying and I'm not just this person who says they can do copywriting but doesn't even speak English, and that sort of thing. It just really sets you miles apart. The bar is very low. If you just put a little bit more effort into what you would have normally done, you're gonna stand out miles apart. So don't be shy, put yourself out there, send the warm, send the cold, post online, build your personal brand, and you will obtain your first few clients. Highly recommend working with agencies in the beginning because it's going to allow you to work with a range of clients, and it also will allow you to figure out, okay, I liked working in this niche, I didn't like working in this niche, so now when I'm looking for a brand on its own and not an agency, I'm going to look a brand in this specific niche because I hated this niche. So it gives you a lot of insight, and I will forever recommend agencies. But yeah, hope this video was insightful. Good luck, and don't stop putting yourself out there.